WWE would relaunch ECW, and Paul Heyman would also return and be the head of it. But he would not last to the end of the year. And he would return to Chris Van Vliet and discuss what happened in 2006 with WWE ECW. Fair use.
You mentioned working with Vince McMahon. What's the story behind you leaving WWE in 2006? What led to that?
We had very different visions for the rebirth of ECW. And I was a lead writer of the third show, Raw, SmackDown, ECW. And he was the chairman of the board with 85% of the voting stock. One of us had to leave. Don't know if you're a betting man. Polymarket, BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, whoever wants to sponsor this.
My bookie.
If you're going to place a bet on which one of us was going to leave, I think the Jew boy from the Bronx, who's just merely the lead writer of the third show, is going to be the one whose ass is out the door, not the chairman of the board with 85% of the voting stock.
What led to that? What led to just the relationship falling apart?
The rebirth of ECW. It was...
But One Night Stand went so well.
Right, because it was a one-night stand. And One Night Stand 2005 was a magnificent event that was as authentic an ECW presentation as we could put on in 2005, including, but not limited to, but certainly highlighted by the Sandman's entrance, which I fought for to the point of almost getting fired.
Because Vince didn't want to pay for Metallica?
Right. And
what's Sandman going to come out to? Come on.
But when that music hit, everyone at the Hammerstein Ballroom knew, wow, this is a real ECW show. This is how it felt back in the 90s and in 2000. 2006, I thought, was a B- show that had a main event that was so memorable that the audience made such a spectacle of Rob Van Dam versus John Cena. Because in ECW, Rob Van Dam never had a world title shot.
Yeah.
So Heyman's right when it comes to One Night Stand 05 and 06. 05 was definitely 100% ECW. And 2006, that was about to be the relaunch of it. And there are WWE guys all over this. And it was also kind of deemed like WWE versus ECW throughout the night. And Joey Styles on that show in the opening match with Randy Orton and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was the ECW guy at the time, had been handpicked by Paul Heyman to be an ECW guy, but he is a WWE guy. That's your opening match for One Night Stand 06. Two WWE guys. And Joey Styles had a line in that show when Randy Orton's coming out. He's like, he's a superstar. He's a superstar. You know, so the 2005 show, it didn't have any current WWE guys who didn't have any affiliation with ECW in it at all. Let's run down this card. So in 2005, we had Lance Storm and Chris Jericho. That was the opener. Super Crazy defeated Tajiri and Little Guido. Rey Mysterio beat Psychosis. Sabu defeated Rhino. Chris Benoit defeated Eddie Guerrero. Mike Awesome defeated Masato Tanaka. In the main event, the Dudleys defeated Tommy Dreamer and Sandman. Now, let's go to 06. 06, on the pre-show, Taz beat King by submission. And in the opening show for the main card, Kurt Angle defeated Randy Orton, as I said. Also, we had ECW guys, FBI, Little Guido and Tony Mama Luke. They defeated Tajiri and Super Crazy. Rey Mysterio, who was the World Heavyweight Champion at the time, defeated Sabu. And WWE guys right here, Edge and Mick Foley and Lita, they take on Terry Funk, Dreamer, and Beulah McGillicuddy. And Baltimore Mahoney defeated Masato Tanaka. And in the main event, RVD would defeat John Cena. But as you can see here, a lot of WWE crumbs in here, a lot of top WWE stars. And this was also a point to launch the new ECW, unlike 2005, which was supposed to just be pretty much just a one-night stand, all puns intended. Let's continue.
23 months as the world TV champion. And for most of those 23 months, the world TV title meant as much, if not more, than the world title, because it was held by Rob Van Dam and pushed in that fashion. But Rob Van Dam finally going for the big title against John Cena, who was the antithesis of what an ECW fan thought should be a performer on an ECW show. And the main event was so memorable for the audience's reaction. The character of the audience was the star of that show. And the fact that Rob Van Dam won made that show popular, acceptable, beloved. And coming out of that, had we presented somewhat of a new style, a progressive, innovative approach to professional wrestling in 2006 that was a genuine alternative to anything WWE was offering at the time on Raw or SmackDown, it could have been a hit. But instead, it just became a third brand, utilizing stars off of Raw and SmackDown. First move I made in the new ECW, I brought CM Punk up from OVW. I wanted Rob Van Dam to be the legend from the original crew, and then you sprinkle in all these other ECW originals as we move the new stars up into the spotlight of what would become a new version of ECW, which was at its worst a complete alternative to anything else that's out there.
The problem was it was just CM Punk. There was really nobody else new that would actually kind of have anybody grasp onto. It was CM Punk, and that was it.
And instead, that it was not what WWE was willing to put on the air, and was amongst the most miserable experiences of my entire life, because it became very personal between me and Vince very fast, because I spent 7.5 years of my life building a brand that at some point became more of a cause than a business.
Sure, to this day, people still chant ECW.
So when you give your life to the cause, you give 7.5 years, and these are prime years too.
How much were you sleeping then?
2 hours a night. But I didn't want to sleep then.
Yeah.
I was too exhilarated.
Yeah.
It was the worst day of my life in ECW was still a wonderful day.
Yeah.
I was living out a dream and fighting for my life doing it, and knowing that I'm fighting for a cause that I believed in. So no one drank the Kool-Aid of the cult of ECW more than Paul Heyman did. So I gave 7.5 years of my life to that cult, to that cause, to that mindset. And to Vince, because he was bored with no competition. WCW is gone, ECW is gone, TNA was nothing in terms of capturing Vince's attention. So what did Vince McMahon get to do? Oh, damn it, I get to change an ECW booking on Paul Heyman. It's the power. It's how Vince operates. And so it became a very personal tug of war between whose vision will be implemented for ECW, when the whole dynamic was, let's create a third brand that's a true alternative to the other two. So it just became a miserable working environment. And
what was the breaking point?
The breaking point was a week after we started, and I couldn't take it anymore then, and still had to last another 6 months in the job. The breaking point was the December to Dismember.
December to Dismember is notoriously known as the worst pay-per-view of all time. This pay-per-view is so bad that they only advertised 2 matches. Leading into the pay-per-view, yes, they advertised 2 matches. They had to bring the Hardys versus Eminem to December to Dismember. These are not ECW guys. These are WWE main roster guys, Raw and SmackDown guys. And they were promoting the Extreme Elimination Chamber. Let's go down this card. So the Hardys against Eminem, that's the opener. And this is exactly why they're not promoting. Like, I am not joking. They did not promote anything else except these 2 matches. When I was a big DVD collector, and when I bought the DVD, the matches, other than the 2 main ones, aren't listed either. And so after the Hardys and Eminem, it's Balls Mahoney against Matt Striker. Elijah Burke and Sylvester Turkai take on the FBI. Daivari against Tommy Dreamer. Kevin Thorne and Ariel against Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly. And then the Extreme Elimination Chamber. Paul had every reason to be at his breaking point. Especially because he lost Kurt Angle in the summer. Big Show was brought over to be his ECW World Champion. And also, WWE, they would bring Bobby Lashley over to ECW. Also a WWE guy, not an ECW guy. You'll hear Paul Heyman discuss what he wanted to do in his plans with the new ECW at December to Dismember.
Coming off the Survivor Series, it was obvious to me that CM Punk was embedded in the zeitgeist of the mindset of the audience in WWE of who is the next big star. He captured the imagination of the WWE crowd. And if we could get the title onto Punk and put Van Dam on the chase, we were getting Bobby Lashley, put Bobby Lashley on the chase, and the rest of the characters in ECW would rise with the tide as the hottest sensation in WWE. CM Punk is our champion. Rob Van Dam, who would still be more popular than Punk in the moment, going after the title. Bobby Lashley being anointed as the next big star coming off of SmackDown, and changing his style to a more MMA-based style. Wow. We could have really taken this to where by Mania, ECW would have been red hot. And instead, because I was so infatuated with the idea of an ECW with CM Punk as the champion and Rob Van Dam on the chase and Bobby Lashley on the chase, that Vince said, no, I want the title on Bobby Lashley, and we're going to beat CM Punk first in the Elimination Chamber, and we're going to beat Van Dam second in the Elimination Chamber, which was a matter of spite.
It's taking your guys out.
And once we get to that now I'm affecting everybody else's career, number one. Number two, I'm affecting the audience having a chance to like the product, because the product is being sabotaged by the very person who wants something out of the product for it to be profitable, but he can't get out of his own way in terms of competing with me behind the scenes for the decisions that are being made on a product that is still associated with me instead of with him. So just the clash between the two of us became just a god-awful, miserable experience that one of us had to escape, and he wasn't going anywhere.
Was there ever talk in 2006 of you working with TNA behind the scenes?
All right, so that was Paul Heyman on his WWE run in 2000, why he left WWE in 2006 and what went wrong with WWE ECW. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about Heyman's story, and let me know if you guys were